Happy New Year, Leo. It's Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au with your chart for 2018, and let's jump straight into this, because over here you see this large cluster of planets. We've had Pluto there in your 6th house for some time now, working underneath the surface of things, being the very slow moving body that it is, a planet of transformation in this area. And then late last year, the planet Saturn sneaking in here, commencing its 2.5-year cycle. So what we're going to be talking about here, predominantly for you, especially along with the Sun and Venus moving into this portion of your horoscope, is the possible health crisis that may be looming as a result of these planets here. These two, Sun and Venus, will move out fairly rapidly. But you can see fairly soon into the picture here the full moon in your 12th house, straight as the year starts. Opposite here, these planets. 12th house has to do with a level of reclusiveness. January 31, when this planet spins around here to create what's not just a new moon but a full lunar eclipse, we see here, well, it's supposed to be in Leo, my apologies. Eclipse here on, well, it says the 31st, taking place in the sign of Leo here. I'm wondering why that, yeah, I think it's got to go around one more time to the full moon on the 31st, taking place in your sun sign. So that's significant. Then on July 28 in Aquarius. And you can see here these planets moving into the 7th house around the end of January. There it is there. The eclipse having a full impact on your relationship. So that's going to set the trend for the rest of the year. And of course your karmic planets are moving through this area as well. So that has a lot to say about, big lessons in your life. Here we see the North Node, which is the lessons that you must learn, having direct impact upon yourself. This is the main area of focus. And if you're not careful, as I said earlier, the health issues may come to bear upon some of the problems that you're having. You may be not processing the circumstances, the events of your life well enough, and the net result is issues here. Your competitive nature is strong at the end of January. We see by Mars, your best planet by far, moving through your 5th house, all through this period here. Makes you competitive. It gives you the drive and creativity to achieve a lot of things. But you can see here the tight squares forming again as these planets move into your 8th house around the end of February, which is your sexuality, intimacy. These are important transits because they get down deep beneath the surface and may have a lot to do with what's going on here in your 6th house. At the upper part of your horoscope, Uranus there, that's going to move around May 16 and all through November 7. It's going to be doing considerable interesting things to your professional activities. Again, that's also got to do with this Saturn-Pluto conjunction and then Mars moving here into this 6th house of workplace environment. Now that's your health that we talked about. That's tied in with your work. And here around March you see some of the difficulties, hard aspects to this 9th house. Belief systems, learning, this is getting tight around this part of the year. Look at this April. All this 9th house, 6th house stuff, which is your learning, expanding your mind. This is also a spiritual house. So it shows there's an incongruity between what you're doing and possibly, what you'd love to be doing. Around May 16, as I said, this transit here starts to change things in your working life. You may be struggling a lot up till that point, and that's shown by Mars in the 6th. Normally these planets are, the malefic planets are good in the 6th house. There around May 18th it moves to the 7th house. So this can be rather combative in your relationships, to say the least. And this continues up here. You see the move I mentioned around May 16, Uranus in your 10th house of profession, bringing with it some rather abrupt and unexpected changes in your work, not necessarily bad. This also has to do with your partnerships because it rules your 7th house of relationships. And here, a lot of hard aspects around June, the middle of the year. Around August, I want to talk about that because there's another major eclipse. This is a solar eclipse, again in your sun sign. So this year, everything is pointing to you yourself as being the pivot of what has to happen. You can't rely on other people here, and if you're getting angry, as shown by Mars in the 7th house and the retrogression of Mars in the 7th house, it is all coming back to you. Here we see the sun moving into position for that August 11 solar eclipse. It's a little bit out of orb of the nodes, but it's a partial eclipse. There it is there. It just took place a little bit back there. It's just happening on the 11th. And so, again, you see the congestion of energy in this part of your horoscope, showing that 2018 really is all about what you're prepared to do for yourself. And this is a recalibration of your personality. And most importantly, to handle the impact of these planetary energies on your nervous system and your physicality. Because that, as we can see, is a recurrent theme here. Saturn, Pluto remaining here. Look at Saturn and Pluto and Mars, all of these planets doing retrograde movement, indicating that whatever you thought you were through in the earlier part of the year must be retraced for you to gain mastery over that. Talked about Uranus here. Again, same sort of deal. A lot of planets doing retrogression here in the latter part of the year. The big one, of course, is this movement of your other very favourable planet in November, which is Jupiter moving out of this 4th house. And here in September and October, it's quite nice for your domestic activities, having Venus and Jupiter together, both lucky. Venus will do retrogression here in October, then the Moon, and a little bit later Mercury, and then the Sun, refocusing your attention on family affairs in this last quarter of the year. Mars doesn't seem to want to leave this 7th house, however, so you'll have some lingering issues in your relationships, and you've got to be careful not to let Mars get out of control. Here we see Jupiter on November the 8th, moving straight out of this 4th house into your lucky 5th house of love, relationships, creativity, and an opportunity to remodel the interior part of yourself, if I could put it that way. Mars finally moves out at that time as well, so that's great news for you. But coming close to this Neptune, especially in the area of intimacy and having all these hard aspects, shows that that last portion of the year may be a little bit difficult in terms of mustering up the practical strength to achieve what it is you are dreaming of. So you need to get your plans right, you need to get your methodologies right, you need to find ways to diffuse any of the heavy tension that you're experiencing in the 6th house. And if you can do that, I think this coming year will be one which can afford you some really great opportunities and some wonderful success. I've written 3,000 words on Leo and what's going to happen to you, and you can find out more, because this was just skimming the surface. Find out more at astrology.com.au. Go to the yearly horoscopes there, 2018. And I hope you'll join me here again next month for more in the continuing saga of your life here on planet Earth. Take care now.